Welcome to AirHeads. Still with me in the hot seat, Roy's stopped breeding, he's now laying. Coming up, bring me sunshine. We have a spin round the well-known Hertfordshire airgun emporium, Ronnie Sunshines. We've got gas ram action and it's nothing to do with smelly sheep. We've got Best Buy PCPs for under £1,000. And taxiing into position, Ted's got the knowledge. First, we're off down the docks with Darren. You can't beat a bit of urban air gunning, or in this case, industrial air gunning. Darren's been granted permission to use his nocturnal talents on tackling the pests that live amongst the cranes, containers and warehouses on this working port. Because when the workers go home, the local residents appear.
Tonight I'm doing some commercial pest control right in the heart of a local town. We've had to do method statements, risk assessments, high-vis clothing, all to go shoot a few rats and hopefully a few rabbits. Colmore has sent me over the Gen 1 dedicated vampire night vision scope. And what's interesting about this, although it's Gen 1, it's got a ceramic core. And because it's got a ceramic core, it means you get higher resolution. And the data sheet on this is we're getting nearly 70 line pairs. It's all getting a little bit too technical, but the picture quality is absolutely superb, which hopefully I can replicate and film through the back. But that's a little technical challenge that I've got to try. And we're going to team up the vampire with the Nightmaster 400 IR, because we're not going to need much illumination here because there's so much ambient light. And that's all balanced on top of the Verminator Mark II FX rifle. So we're not FAC tonight, it's just standard 12-foot pound. Really looking forward to tonight.
It's very cool having a backdrop of concrete and metal instead of grass and trees. It's not difficult to adapt your approach to quarry, just weird, a bit alien. But then there are alien invaders here too. Darren spots deer down alleyways, geese on the wharf, rabbits and of course foxes.
So again, it just shows, in the middle of a town, the diversity of wildlife.
Looks like we have a strong case for bringing out a big bore air rifle. Darren is not allowed to use a rimfire or centrefire rifle here for obvious reasons, but the foxes are not wanted here either. The main target tonight are the rats feeding on the spilt grain. There's tons of the stuff stored here. Efforts to poison the pests are just not making a difference to the numbers.
There's such an abundance of free food stuff, I think, is the main problem. I think one of the issues, we've also had such a mild winter that breeding has just been prolific, and there's just an abundance of wildlife. Poison isn't actually working, so we're going to have a go, see if we can shoot some.
The vampire picks up our rats nicely.
As you can see, there's a lot of spilt grain outside one of the grain stores, so it's fairly obvious this is where all the rats are heading for. But they just seem to be running around without a care in the world. And this is one of the huge advantages. I'm only having to turn the infrared illuminator on just to pick up eye shine when the rats are in the shadows. But I have to be so careful that the security lights don't come on whilst I'm using this tube device.
Having shot some of the rats, we move our attention to the rabbits. Some are in the middle of a car park. Darren is impressed with the image quality and thinks the vampire has plenty of applications.
End of another really successful evening. I really enjoyed that. So many new things for me, or different things. The Gen 1 night vision, again, absolutely superb. I had my reservations at 3 times magnification, I was going to struggle. But the benefits, the wide field of view are very good. The light amplification is superb, so I can see this really appealing to pig shooters, as well as close range rabbiting. All in all, for sub £700, I think it's very good setup.
So happy days and nights and plenty more reasons for us to return here with more kit. For more information about the armour site Vampire, visit nightvisiongear.co.uk. From heavy industry to a lightweight, it's David with HotAir.
This is HotAir. An American high school was locked down by police after reports of a man in camouflage on campus with a gun. Police at Tate High School in Florida later revealed he was a pest controller with an airgun shooting snakes. One of the most popular pub sports of the last century is to get a boost. BSA Guns and Birmingham-based Solware are to produce a Bell target rifle. At its height, Bell target shooting was endorsed by Queen Victoria, concerned about the British Army's poor standard of shooting during the Boer War. It's an indoor sport designed for pubs and clubs, using a 177 6 to 8 foot-pound air rifle, shooting at an all-steel Bell target at a distance of either 6 or 7 yards. Visit belltarget.com. Keep an eye out for special deals this summer. Over the next few months, buying a new Daystate Mark IV means you'll receive a spare mag and a silencer for free. Visit daystate.com for more. Meanwhile, BSA is offering its R10 Tactical with a free scope and backpack for a recommended retail price of £799. Increasing interest in air guns in America is changing local laws. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission is to allow squirrel hunters to use air rifles to bag their bushy-tailed game. The award for Tweet of the Week goes to Chief Superintendent Paul Brogden of the British Transport Police, who wrote, "If you're selling an air pistol, don't try to do it on a train, especially to an off-duty Met Police UK officer. Arrested and charged, #Tunbridge. A 17-year-old boy from Lingfield, Surrey was arrested and has been charged with possession of an air rifle." And finally, airgun viral video of the week goes to this Japanese youngster. He's using an air-powered pistol to clean his teeth. Kids, don't be sad enough to try this at home. You are now up to date with HotAir, aiming for accuracy, targeting the truth.
Thank you, David. Now, here are a few ways to make your next shopping experience one to remember.
Hi, my name's Dave and this is Team Sunshine.
We're on a sunshine tour and Governor Dave is our guide.
Ronnie Sunshine experience, just coming down and meeting us, I suppose. That's an experience for anybody.
Ronnie Sunshines isn't just stuffed with all the top kit. It has the facilities to let you use and test it too. 3 ranges offer anyone between the ages of 7 and 107 with an interest in air-powered fun a chance to take aim and enjoy the sunshine experience. So Dave, show us around.
So we've now come upstairs from the shop and we're going to take a quick look around at the 2 pistol zones that we got here at Ronnie Sunshines. This is our electronic BB range. It's a 2-player game and it's a speed competition. Fastest one wins. We have great fun up here shooting and blasting away with BBs. Just follow me through this way. We've got the military side as well, which is our military zombie zone. And this is for our steel BBs and pellet pistols. We're ripping up tin cans, ripping away at targets, your knockdowns. We can do a lot of damage up here, have some great fun and don't have to worry about it whatsoever because that's why we built it. And now I want to show you the piece de la resistance, our rifle range. We're really proud of this. We put a lot of effort into this. We got 20 yards. We got lots for you to shoot at. We got spinning targets. We got bell targets. We got paper targets, comfortable, heated, air conditioned. We got a coffee machine. You can rent rifles. We can give you tuition. It's for beginners. It's for advanced people. If you ever get the opportunity, if you're passing by, just come in and see us.
Ronnie Sunshines has a strong online presence and can deliver your sparkly new Springer PCP or pistol to your door. And they all come with, drum roll please, a lifetime guarantee. Now you don't see one of those every day.
There's not many products you get in this world where they're going to give you a lifetime warranty. We can't think of any, to be honest. Cars, white goods, anything like that. They're not going to do it, but we do it.
Dave says there is no one typical airgun customer, but he does enjoy watching the unimpressed girlfriends who have been dragged kicking and probably screaming to the shop, suddenly seeing the light, or the rays from the sunshine.
We find that once they get a gun in their hand, that they're really taken by it, and we can get them hitting targets really quickly. And all of a sudden, a little switch goes on. It's like, oh, I kind of like this gun thing. This is a lot more fun than I thought. And within minutes, you know, they're taking over the gun, and it's all about them all of a sudden. So yeah, that's probably one of the more enjoyable things as well.
Now joining Dave today is Steve Taylor, who we first met at the British Shooting Show at Stoneleigh in February, demonstrating IPAS, iron plate action shooting. He has come along to see the facilities Ronnie Sunshines has on offer. We ask him to use the 20-metre range to demo some of his pistol skills. We'll be looking at that in more depth in upcoming shows. He will cast his eye over some of the shop's extensive display.
We're great on pistols. I can definitely say we've got a fantastic display of pistols, a fantastic range, all different price points. We've got some great guys in-house who are very hot on their pistols and know what they're talking about.
Many of the air guns on sale are a thing of beauty, but they do need to be used. Some are a little more flamboyant than others. Perfect for Dave.
Just because I'm the governor, I get to play with one of these.
To see what Ronnie Sunshines can do for you, visit ronniesunshines.com.
Welcome to Ronnie Sunshines.
Thanks to Dave and his team for that. And as mentioned, we will be bringing you regular tips from Steve about how to improve your pistol shooting. Next, let's reach for the skies for the Mount Olympus of PCPs, the Asgard of air guns, and see what his Tedness has to say for himself this week.
Sorry, Ted, I know you're busy, but if I made you 12 again, would you buy a 177 or a 22?
If I'm 12, I don't have an expensive pre-charged pneumatic. I probably have a pumper, and I'm gonna need some thump for that pumper. But it's only, if I shoot a 2.2, it's gonna be too loopy. But a 177, not enough smacking power. I go 2.0. I go, that's the answer. The philosophy of everyone who had a 177 when they were 12, looking back, wish they had the 2.0. Yeah.
Now, we've had a few requests to look at gas ram air guns. James Magpie Marchington, as he's now called, does a comparison test for us.
Now, people have been asking, what's the difference between a spring gun, a gas ram, and a pre-charged pneumatic? And which one should I use for hunting and why? Well, with the aid of these rather soggy examples here, let me explain what I use and why. First off, we have this one. It's a BSA Meteor, which is the identical model to the one I started off with years and years ago. Very simple design. Basically, we have the tube here. Inside is a spring and a piston. When you cock the gun, that pushes the piston back against the spring, pull the trigger, that releases the piston, which flies forward, pushing the air through the barrel and pushing the pellet out. Next we have an example of a gas ram. Now this is an old Theoban. Theoban started the trend for gas ram air rifles, and I've had this one for years. I've done a lot of hunting with it, very successful. Now this one here, this is a much more modern gas ram air gun. This is a Benjamin air gun from Crossman. Basically there's still a piston in here. When you cock the gun, it's pushing the piston back against the pressure of not a spring, but a gas strut. But again, the piston is sweeping air into the barrel and pushing the pellet out. Now this one, pre-charged pneumatic, works on a completely different principle. This one happens to be an Air Arms, but there are plenty of other good makes around. In this one, you pump up compressed air into this reservoir here. When you pull the trigger, all that happens is a little valve in here goes dink and lets some air through and pushes the pellet out the barrel. The big difference then is when you fire a spring gun, or for that matter a gas ram gun, what's happening is that piston's got to fly forward, compressing the air, push the pellet out the barrel, the piston hits the end of the cylinder, stops with a jolt, and all that is happening before the pellet has got to the end of the barrel. So the gun's jumping about while the pellet's still in the barrel. With this one, all you've got is that tiny little valve going off, and that really doesn't disrupt the gun at all. So the only thing that's going to move the gun is the recoil of the pellet leaving the barrel, and that's tiny, absolutely tiny. So this thing stays a lot more steady when you fire. Now you can shoot a spring or a gas ram gun very accurately. All you have to do is make sure that you hold it exactly the same way every time, and then the movement of the gun is identical every time, so it shoots in the same place. So if I shoot off these sandbags here, I can shoot lovely tight groups with any of these guns. Now the problem comes when you're hunting, because you can't be taking your sandbags and your table and all the rest of it with you. You have to take your chances when they come. Sometimes you've got to kneel down, sometimes you've got to be lying prone, sometimes you're standing behind a tree, you may have to raise yourself up to shoot over a bit of grass, so you've got to shoot from kneeling, you may have to shoot standing. There's no knowing what position you'll have to shoot from, because however the shot presents itself, that's the way you've got to take it. If you try and move into the right position, well, you're just going to frighten the quarry away. Now the great thing about a pre-charged pneumatic then is that you can shoot it from any position and it's still going to put the pellet where the scope's looking. It's not going to jump this way or that because you're holding it differently, or you're resting it on this, or you've got your arm hit this way or that. There's really nothing to choose between these guns in terms of power or anything else. They're all lovely guns, they can all shoot really nicely. The reason why I like to shoot a pre-charged pneumatic when I'm hunting is that I know whatever position I'm in, the gun's going to shoot where I'm aiming. And to me, that's why I shoot a pre-charged pneumatic when I'm hunting, if I possibly can.
Thank you, James. Right, Tony Belas of Daystate has some more tips and tricks of the trade. This week, be prepared. Dib, dib, dib.
If you're out hunting on your own, the chances are you'll have a loaded rifle and a loaded magazine and the rifle. You should always use a safety. It's good practice to use a safety. Because I tend to be shooting in company, because I tend to be out with the film crew or with other people going around, I'm not really happy with having a chambered pellet, particularly as it might be hours before we actually see something to shoot at. So I always have an empty chamber. Very American cowboy that, isn't it, having an empty chamber, and I put that into the rifle and just close the bolt behind it, so I've actually got an empty chamber, and I use the bolt action as a safety as well, so I've got an additional safety just in case. Slings. Jerry does an awful lot of walking around the woods, and of course it's a great help to have it supported, particularly when you're carrying him out of stuff that he carries. So Jerry's rifle has a sling on it. I prefer to carry the rifle pointing downwards on the principle that I'd rather shoot myself in the foot than in the head, which is a rather crass way of putting it, but I find it easier to carry the rifle pointing down, but other people carry it muzzle up. I also find by having the rifle pointing downwards, it's much easier to get it up into a shot than if you're putting it off the shoulder. Although there's not an awful lot of difference, it's just a personal preference. Another thing you can do is you can also, don't discount putting the sling on the side. It's the traditional German place of putting the sling, and actually puts the rifle flat on your back, and you can hold the rifle over your neck and it doesn't tilt so much when you're bringing it up into the aim.
From slings and things to the main event, the Airgun Centre's Peter Zammit has a selection of beautiful PCPs for more than a monkey, but under £1,000.
A question we regularly get asked is, I have a budget £500 to £1,000. I'd like to shoot pre-charged rifles because I've heard a lot about them. I've heard how good they are, how quiet they are, how accurate they are. What sort of rifle fits within that sort of budget? Well, I've got a little selection here. The first one would be the BSA Scorpion 10-shot mag. That goes back in there like so. Can be fitted with a silencer, so if you wanted to shoot some sort of squirrels in your garden, some pigeons, that sort of thing, without annoying the neighbours, you can put a silencer on here, makes it virtually inaudible. A fabulous thing, and accuracy beyond belief. Superb piece of kit. Next one on my list would be again a BSA rifle. This is the BSA R10. This is the Mark II model. Slightly different to the Scorpion as it's got the bigger air supply, the buddy bottle type. This is a regulated rifle. Basically just makes them slightly more consistent. Don't need to over worry about that because they're all very, very accurate. You shoot this in your garden all day long, your neighbours wouldn't even hear you. Now on to a different manufacturer. This one is the Viroc 100. This particular model is the standard length T version. The T stands for the thumb hole stock. Incredibly popular, very, very successful rifle. Viroc's first pre-charged rifle. This is kind of unique. It's a 14 shot solid steel rotary mag. For me, it's the slickest box of tricks you can buy. It's incredibly user friendly, very, very easy to work, and it has fitted the absolutely legendary Viroc silencer. I love everything about this rifle, from the quality of the trigger to the quality of the silencer, stopping at all stations. It doesn't, for me, get any slicker. This is the S510 Ultra Sporter. It's a fabulous looking thing. It's got this lovely coloured laminated stock, almost as quiet as the legendary Viroc silencer, or quiet enough. Let me demonstrate. Fabulous thing. What can I say? Absolutely love it. There are loads and loads of rifles to choose from. These are just 4 of the sort of mid-range stuff. But what you need to do is maybe come down, pick them up, see how you feel with the weight, see how you just feel generally with them. Because if it feels right, generally you'll shoot it right.
Thank you, Peter. Now we're off to the wider world of air gunning on YouTube. It is Airstreaming. Charlie Jacoby here. This is my weekly roundup of the best air gunning on YouTube. Let's start with a springtime rabbit raid. Horn 250 shows us how useful quiet stalking and good shooting can be when out after our favourite little pests. Staying on rabbits, Dave Rats, when we can see him, takes us to a field that's overrun with the animals and must have been the despair of the landowner until Dave came along. Next, Son of Scotland 67 shows us how easy it is to hammer the rats when you have a night vision scope in this good quality pest control film. Scott from Vermin Hunters TV shows us how romantic a night rat shooting at a pig farm can be. And like real romance, it's a dirty business with some great sound effects. A squirrel-proof feeder, no such thing, or is there? Squirrel Hunter channel shows us the headshots and proof of just what the grey squirrel will do to get their nuts. Now here's airgun legend Terry Doe. Even some squirrel subspecies worship him on Sundays. In this film, he's giving away his tips and tricks. Rick from Airgun Web talks us through the new ultra-quiet Hatsan Galatian and why we should all be buying it. And finally, Airguns of Arizona continues its airgunning tour of African plains game. In this film, it's out after springbuck and bushbuck. Click on the links to watch the videos, or you'll find them in this film's description. If you would like to send in a video for Airstreaming, ping me the link, Charlie at fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, this has been AirHeads. Please hit the subscribe button or go to our webpage, and please tell your friends. We're back in a couple of weeks. See you then.